I think throughout our programs, we want to create this open space where people can ask questions and be creative, contribute their own perspective on things freely. I think art is there as a platform for people to come and engage with certain topics and to ask questions. It's not necessarily like maybe in Vietnam sometimes art might have to convey a message, like a propaganda art. But actually for us art is more a space, and if the public doesn't immediately understand the art, I think it's a good thing, because then they will ask, they will wonder, the art will surprise them. And actually this is what we want, for people to open up their horizon, think that they need to understand a certain message, but that they need to make sense of their own world or the world that is around them. It's more our role to give new impulses, to initiate dialogue between the two cultures. And I think this is really our role, to further the exchange. And through this exchange, I think both sides can learn from each other. So definitely the Goethe-Institut is not here to impose some values on Vietnamese society and to shape it, but is here more to give new impulses and I think learn from each other. That is also important. For us, difference and diversity are very important. We believe that a diverse society is more sustainable if everyone can contribute to society, if everyone can take part in society. Society will develop more just, more fair, and will benefit. Everyone will benefit from this. So yes, we really want to make people, or surprise people, make them think more about their own lives by maybe confronting them with things that they've not seen before, or that they might find challenging or difficult to understand. For us, a way to engage with the public. It might not always be that people like, maybe, or love or it pleases their eyes, but I think it will make them think. And for us, that's important. I have to say, I'm always amazed by the art community here and by the independent cultural scene in Ho Chi Minh City. It's young, it's dynamic, very creative. Most of all, I think it's very resilient, because as you know, the conditions in Vietnam for young artists is not always easy. There's very little funding. There's also censorship. There are many restrictions. And I really admire the artist community here on how they pursue their dreams and their projects and really thrive here in Vietnam. I think for us, formats that are a little bit more sustainable are very important. So we don't bring German artists to Vietnam just to do a showcase. But for us, the engagement and the process of getting to know each other, of exchanging, and then, if possible, co-creation is very important. So formats like residencies. I think as for anything with art together, art is also, a platform to communicate certain topics in a different way. We might communicate science in a very theoretical way, but art might do that to engage people and to make people feel what science actually means. And I think that's an important perspective on science, and it might bring younger people closer to science, for example. But nevertheless, for us, it's also important that we not only use art as an instrument to achieve something else, but we also appreciate art in itself, and it has already a value in itself. I think, and I mentioned it before, a red thread throughout our program is that we don't want to convey certain messages, but we want to pose questions. And I think this is something that you have to train also, that it's okay to ask questions, that it's actually wanted, criticize or to question certain ways of doing things, of living, that you might also be critical about yourself. And I think throughout our programs, we want to create this open space where people can ask questions and be creative, contribute their own perspective on things freely. And I hope that the Goethe-Institut can contribute to that. I think there are a lot of topics that are relevant and important between the two countries. And one that we're talking about today was inclusion. It's a topic that Vietnam is in the beginning, or for Vietnamese society, at the beginning of thinking how inclusion can also be approached through art. And that actually people with disability are also part of society and should also participate in cultural events, not only as audience, but also as artists. And through inviting Michael Turinsky, for example, does contemporary art, contemporary performance, we want to open up that dialogue that people here in Vietnam, especially people with disabilities, can also be exposed to and inspired by an artist with disability, but also be empowered, enabled to do art themselves. I think what I've said before, to value diversity and to value inclusion is a very important aspect of making life, and also urban life, more sustainable, more just. We've seen people with disability don't have many accessible spaces to go in the urban life of Ho Chi Minh City, to be honest. And I think to develop a consciousness about this, to develop awareness about this, is kind of what we are trying to initiate and give impulses for example. That's one example, I think, for this big question. I think we are more a space for artistic freedom, for creativity, for experimentation. We open up kind of these rooms, these platforms for creatives in Ho Chi Minh City to express themselves freely, I think is our role.